Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 2020 Nissan GTR NISMO. Now this is part of the R35 generation, which had been in production since December 2007. Sadly though, production ceased in 2021, with deliveries in the UK and European Union coming to an end earlier this month, March 2022, which is a great shame, but it's due to noise regulations and it being so old now that it's not really able to keep up with the times in terms of regulations and emissions and stuff like that. But even though it is as old as it is, NISMO have worked their wonders on upgrading this to be as competitive as possible against its competitors. And what they've done is basically given it lighter interior materials, front and rear brake cooling ducts, NISMO tuned suspension and brakes, carbon fibre boot lid, and a front splitter teamed with a carbon fibre rear wing for more downforce, which all in all makes this a far better handling car than it ever has been before. We do have the standard GTR from 2017 on this game, so I can compare it against a more standard GTR, and it does handle infinitely better. It just sticks like glue to the road. But even though it's had an overhaul in terms of performance stuff, it's still a car that has a really rather nice interior. It's still a car that can cover many great distances in comfort and style. And it's still got its rear seats, and meaning that you can carry a decent amount of people around. And even though the high sill is still a problem with the boot, it's still got a sizable boot in terms of space anyway. So still a practical car even with all the overhauling performance extras. And it's also had an overhaul in terms of the engine. Still a 3.8 litre twin turbocharged V6 engine, but it now produces 600 horsepower and 481 pounds-feet of torque, giving it 35 horsepower more than the standard GTR and 14 pounds-feet of torque extra as well. And combine that with the fact it also weighs 66 pounds less, and you've definitely got a far quicker vehicle in terms of acceleration. And and then on top of that, obviously it's handling better with the extra downforce and the lack of weight. So overall a really impressive car. Now it only weighs 3,867 pounds, which granted is still quite a lot for a sports car, but like I said, it is at least lighter than the standard version. So let's nonetheless get out onto the drag strip, see how quick it can go in a straight line, and then we'll get to the track and see just how good it is in terms of handling. Right, so here we are at the drag strip, and obviously the Nissan GTR's party piece in this generation has always been its launch control and its ability to pretty much break your neck by accelerating as quickly as it does. So let's see how quick it can go in this version, and then see how fast we can go as we hit the speed camera. So the launch is actually a little bit worse in this than the 2017 version of the GTR. I think purely because it has more power and more torque, so it struggles a little bit to get it off the line. But it's still relentlessly quick off the launch, and nearly 154 miles an hour there. Ain't half bad at all. And and then you have to consider the fact that straight line speed and top speed aren't really the main thing about this car. It's handling, and it handles absolutely gloriously. So let's travel over to the track just to see how good it actually is. Still there's some problems with this car. Like I said, the high sill on the boot is not really a good thing at all. Its V6 engine is the most exciting sounding engine ever, but it is at least a one that has plenty of power, plenty of torque, and is able to propel this car really rather nicely. So let's quickly look at the stats before we start. So we're in mid S1 class, and the stats are great on this. Obviously the off-road is poor, but that's for most sports cars, to be honest. But braking, launch, handling and speed are all really rather good, all about the same, to be honest, in terms of stats. But the acceleration, as you can see, is really rather quite high. Now if you compare this to the 2017 version that we have here, also from the same generation, you can see that the handling, the acceleration and the braking have all been improved. But the launch has been slightly worse, like I said, probably because the chassis has been quite challenged now with 600 horsepower over the car when it originally came out having about 520. So but that is still really good improvement in terms of the stats, and as you can see in terms of the horsepower, the torque and the weight, it's all been improved as well. So yeah, let's get to the track and just see what all that correlates to in terms of actual performance, because yeah, I've generally been a fan of the GTR over its many iterations, but I have to say they've really knocked it out of the park for this you know, the last ultimate version of this generation. Will be interesting to see what they do next. Pretty sure they're going to go electric, or at least hybrid performance, but yeah, still going to be interesting to see where Nissan goes with this, if they do anything with the GTR at all, that is. But yeah, I'll let you listen to the car for a little bit first, and then we'll talk about it some more. Yeah, as you can see, it just sticks like glue to the road, even at slower speeds, at about like 80 miles an hour. It's still got plenty of grip. Now obviously, even on coming out of slower corners or going into slower corners, it might have a little bit less grip than you might expect, but on the whole, this is a really good handling car. And yeah, it's using the downforce, the lack of weight, and the all-wheel drive system all in tandem to really make a really solid handling car. Any novice could get into this and just, you know, absolutely floor it around the track, no problem whatsoever. And yeah, that's all in spite of the fact that this is obviously quicker in terms of acceleration. 0 to 60 now is dealt with in 2.685 seconds. 0 to 100 is dealt with in 6.683 seconds. And it will go into a top speed despite all of the downforce of 209 miles an hour, which is, yeah, really rather good, and yeah, top of the line in terms of other sports cars like this. But at the end of the day, this is a sports car that has, you know, a sizable trunk, it's got or boot even, and it's also got rear seats, it's got plenty of electronics, and, you know, it's pretty much a car that can go around the track, but also be a really rather decent Grand Tourer at the same time. So, yeah, this covers pretty much all bases really, and yeah, as a final, you know, hurrah for the R35 generation, yeah, it is genuinely superb, and I do hope Nissan continue with the GTR, and yeah, do even better than they have done already, because yeah, this is sensational, and yeah, really glad it's been put into the game. Now you get this by doing the Forza Festival playlist. Now you only have to get 20 points with this, which is no issue at all with all of the different things you can do to get those 20 points. You pretty much do once of the online things, which will get you 10 points, and then just do a few of the PR stunts and you'll be there. So yeah, easy enough to get and well worth the effort for getting it. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye.